10 minutes left. Try to get as many of the questions that the people have given us. This is one of my favorites here. If this doesn't bring a smile to your face, then I don't know anything.
Okay, I'll smile.
Why do Psi followers often experience a lack of money?
Next question, please.
Related, would you comment on boredom and depression? Is it required to know happiness and bliss?
Boredom and depression. Is it required? Well, I just told the story of how Arjuna was clearly rejected, depressed. I don't think he was bored. That's a little different kind of a feeling. But he was hopeless. He was a great generalissimo. He was a great fighter. He had prepared for this. Swami said they were both in their 80s at that time. Lived much longer. And he and Krishna had been together for some 70-odd years. And he was a great warrior. And knew how to be in the world. He was also a great prince of a mighty kingdom. This is a spiritual depression that I'm in. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's my dharma. What is the right thing to do? Is it to kill all these beloved grandfathers and cousins and family? Is that what I'm supposed to do? Is that the right thing to do? I throw down my bow. I'm helpless. Am I supposed to make widows? Is that what I'm supposed to do? It's a difficult question. You can feel the anguish that is in that. And the first thing Krishna says to him, he says, you are not a body. You are the Atma. You were never born. You will never die. In an interview that Swami Westerners, myself in Kodaikanal, the very first time I went to Kodai. It was a remarkable experience for me because I was told to remain at Prashanti Nil at the time. And somehow, in the most remarkable way, I was transported. It's a long story I won't tell right now. But there he got 70 devotees, 70, 80 perhaps, less than 100 devotees at that moment. And of those, about 45 or 50 were Westerners who somehow got the word, all like myself, in a most remarkable way. And we came together. Swami gave an interview to us. And he said, you were never born. You are the Atma, not these bodies. Don't think of yourself this way. This is the first thing that Krishna said to Arjuna. So, as long as we still hold on to these identities that we have nurtured for in many with a limited idea, maya, that was nothing. And so we become confused. We don't know what to do. And we become depressed. And we become anxious. And we become like Arjuna at that moment, prepared for life. And Krishna said, you will fight despite yourself. It is already in your nature. You're a pure soul. And you have come to support and protect the Dharma. This is a time to change the of materialism and ignorance, the truth. And you are the one that I've chosen this. And so Krishna gave him the Gita. He will give a Gita to all of us. And itself will bring on that Gita. Mm-hmm. Now that doesn't mean that you have to be depressed. It means that we're still holding on. And the blessed Lord is not going to let us hold on very long. Mm-hmm. And so he will come and all you have to do is say help, which is what Arjuna did. He said help. And whatever follows will be the direction from the Lord, because our minds are all powerful. Like nothing can resist these minds. Your mind, let me just say it, your mind is all powerful. Your mind is the mind of God. You have chosen to identify yourself with something small, but that doesn't change your mind. Your mind is still the divine mind. It is all powerful, and all you have to say is help, And your very own mind, that part of your mind that has not become confused, will arrange for you to get your own Gita. Gita is the song of God, is the song of liberation.
One final question.
Yes.
You raised the subject of the Course in Miracles. Baba has said that he is the author of the Course in Miracles.
Yes.
You said the Course in Miracles is not for everybody. Why?
Let it be directed to you personally. Ask Swami. You have your way of asking. Ask. Ask and see if it's right for you. I was directed towards it. I have to tell you, like the Course in Miracles was first channeled is probably not the right word. It was more dictated. It was dictated to a psychiatrist at Columbia University at Presbyterian Hospital in New York, Helen Schuckman, because she was having such troubles in her work. And she was a pure soul, if you read a little bit of her life. And she just suddenly got this voice that said, get your pen and start taking dictation. And she took this dictation. When there were some 30-odd chapters dictated as part of a text, and then there were 365 lessons, a lesson for every day of the year that was dictated following that. And then there was another little book called the Manual for Teachers, saying that you are all teachers of God, you are all teachers of love, teach only love. And that was also dictated. And those have been put together and has become the Course in Miracles. When the first 10 chapters had been dictated, the first 10 chapters of all the rest that I just mentioned, a psychiatrist whose name was Laura Pearls, who was a good friend of Helen Schuckman, who took the dictation, was given the first typewritten manuscript of those first 10 chapters of the text. And Laura, who was separated from her husband, Fritz Perls, a great psychiatrist who at that time had had a number of heart attacks and had come to and was at Esalen at the institute where I was living and teaching on the West Coast, and who had been miraculously saved by Ida Rolf, who was invited to come there and who then developed her Rolfing. I mean, all this is part of my history. And I was Fritz Perls' assistant. And I was living there at Esalen, and I was just helping this old man out in every way that get him to help him do his life's work, which was Gestalt therapy, which has become the principal method of clinical psychology today. And Laura, his wife, came, also a psychiatrist, came to visit from New York, and she brought with her the MS of the first 10 chapters of the Course in Miracles. So, the first 10 chapters of the Course in Miracles. Laura Pearls gives it to her husband, Fritz Perls, whom she visits once a year, and Fritz takes a look at it and it says, Jesus, 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 what do I want with Jesus? And he just throws the thing to me and he says, here is this miracle thing. And I look at it and I see Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And what's a nice Jewish boy like me have to do with? And I put it aside. And 30 odd years later, it comes back to me. We have somebody is showing a video, and it was some great spiritual light. I think it was a Papaji, Punjaji. And they mixed up the cases. And in the case, out comes the Wapniks talking about the Course in Miracles. And so I watched this video of the Course in Miracles, and something in me just talks to me and says, this is your next bus stop. And so it's come to me. So if it comes to you, ask. Ask if it's right for you. What is missing for me in the Course, although it's very much there, but it doesn't have the sweetness of the heart. It isn't quite, it assumes that you've gone through, that you're at that stage. I mentioned yesterday, there's sort of 3 steps. There's karma yoga, there is the bhakti yoga, and there's the jnana yoga. Swami spoke to all 3 of those in the Sai Baba Gita. It goes straight. It is a narrow path straight up a mountain to the ultimate recognition of who we are, the Jnana Yoga. That union with truth, with the wisdom of who I am, as one with God. And for some of us who like to taste the sugar, it may not quite be the path as yet. So ask, and it will be shown you.
I'm told we have a little more time. A couple more questions on the list here that people have submitted. How is it that I cannot stay in contact with Sai Baba now like before?
I can't stay in contact with Sai Baba now as before. Before, I made some 30, 35 trips to Swami, sometimes 2, usually 3 times a year. After doing my workshop, I had a workshop at Esalen. I would do that workshop and then go off to India. I had 3 months free in between, generally, between the 3 months workshop. And I just want to go off to India. And I made all those many trips, and then one day Swami told me, now you come. It was, he sent a really tough cookie to me. This man was in his late 60s. He had just retired from Harvard Medical School. He had been head of a department of internal medicine at Harvard Medical School. And God knows why that man would come to Esalen Institute and take my, that time, 3-month workshop on alternative systems of healing. The workshop taught many different systems of healing, including homeopathy and the Rolfing and herbal medicine and yoga medicine and different things that were of interest to those who had that kind of a mind. And this man just gave me a continuous hard time. And so in between, in the middle of our 3-month program, at Easter time, it was past Easter time. It was already end of May. I went, I took a few days off and went to Swami. And Swami called me right in. He said, that old man is giving you such a hard time. I said, yes, Swami. He says, why do you need this? Come, be with me and you'll be free. You don't need money. You don't need marriage. You don't need fame. All of those will give you pain. Marriage, money, excuse me. Marriage, money, fame equals pain. Come be with me and you'll be free. I said, yes, Swami, I'll come. It will take me a year or two to sort of close off my program at Esalen, and I had some land up there in Big Sur to sell that and take care of things. He said, no, not like that. You come back for Guru Purnima. Guru Purnima at that time was in the end of June, sometime towards the end of June. This was the end of May. It was a little bit more than 3 weeks. He said, go home, close everything up. You don't need to do anything more in America. America finished. You come and be with me. And so I had no choice, really. And I went and lived there and came, and And in the most remarkable way, everything was taken care of. It was a piece of land that was very difficult to develop because of some legal situation. And I didn't see how I could let go of it, sell it. And in the most remarkable way, everything got taken care of. Somebody came and said, I want it. I said, there's going to be problems. He said, I don't care what it is. I'll pay you whatever. Here, and like that. Everything. And so the only thing that was still keeping me was I had some old parents. My mother at that time was 91 and my father was 94. And they were kind of dependent on me. My father was, because on 2 occasions he had been in the ICU in a hospital. He had heart attacks, and in both cases he was fading fast, and in one of those cases his heart actually stopped. And they were in Los Angeles at that time in a hospital. I was up in Big Sur, and I drove as fast as I could down to Los Angeles. And Swami showed me, and he showed me that there was a homeopathic remedy that was going to save that man. And I couldn't get it into him. He had this mask and this oxygen on his face, and he was all wired up. And the only thing, and I saw the remedy. There was something very unusual of what he wanted that he never in his whole life ever cared about, and that spoke to me of that remedy. It spoke to me of phosphorus. I mean, the details are not important. I'm trained as a homeopath. And I could see a remedy. And I just ran out to the car to get that remedy. By the time I got back, on the oscilloscope, his pulse was flat. And I just had to get it into him somehow. And I just rubbed it on his wrist. And you could just see, and the heart just came up. And he came back to life. It was Swami. I mean, I just had like this intuition, and it was just given to me. And then it happened again at a later time, and again he came back to. And so he became very dependent on me, that I would sort of keep him alive. And so now I'm given these 3 weeks to come back for Guru Purnima to India. And Swami said, all of America is finished for you. You don't have to do any more. And what about my old parents? And so on the day that I was to pick up my ticket, it was a Friday night. We're, as you know by now, with Jewish background. And my father would go to the temple, and he went to the temple, and he came home. It's Friday night. He comes home to the Shabbat meal, and he has his meal, and he sits down in his chair, and he just goes to sleep, and he breathes his last. And my mother calls me, and she says, son, your father has departed. It is all right, I am fine. It was beautiful, and come, and there is in the Jewish tradition it's called sitting Shiva. You come and be with him, be with us, and then go off to India. It is fine. I will be fine. And everything got taken care of in those 3.5 weeks, and including a huge amount of money that just suddenly came to me. And I had no idea where it came from. I mean, they said that there was an account in some savings and loan association in Redlands, somewhere in California, some town I'd never been in, that it was in my name, and they found me through the driver's license, and they sent me all this money. And the first thing I did with this check is when I got to Swami, I just put it on his chair. It's your money, it's not mine. And that's how I happened to get this incredible place on top of the round building, up on top, the, what do you call it, the penthouse suite, I mean, I didn't do anything. It was just all given to me. I forget what led me into this long story. What was the question?
Does anybody remember? Side devotees, why are they always poor?
No, that wasn't the question.
They already answered that one.
Why some of us feel separate from Swami at this point?
Yes, why some...
No, the question was, does it change?
Yeah.
does your relationship to Swami change? Wasn't that
Yeah,
essentially
that's
the
the question. Yeah.
And so for years following that, I was at Prashanti Nilayam, and I was given a duty to do, and it was to talk to the Westerners when they came. I mean, I'd give in those early days, it's Kasturi and Kasturi's son and myself would give the daily talks, and then and I had no idea how to do that. I was just a shy little refugee boy. I came from Germany just before the war. We were saved, and I was just a very shy kid. But Swami said, "You do it, and it's given to do." And then I was teaching at the university, and I was given all these tasks to do the study circle for both the professors and also for the students. I mean, I was busy all the time, and then Swami called on me lots and lots of times. I mean, people would send me pictures of me and Swami, because Swami would always talk to me. Every day he talked to me. Every day. I don't think there was a day that was skipped when he wouldn't say something to me. And then one day it all changed. He just didn't talk to me. He didn't come by. And that went on and on and on, and it was a whole year. And at the end of the year, he still hadn't talked to me. And that's when I got very sick, and I was in the hospital, and then Swami sent word that I had to leave the hospital. I had to go back to America to get treatment. He sent for one of my students at Esalen. This fellow, normally he lived in Canada, and he would normally come during the cold of the Canadian winter. He would come in February, but this was Dasara time, so that this was October. And Swami came to him that night and said, "You go and collect Drucker." And so he came, and he was there for one darshan, and Swami said, "He's in the hospital, go get him." And Adi, as his name is, came and took me home. And as I was just sort of carried on board the airplane, and I was sort of crumpled into a seat along the window, barely alive, and the plane was flying out of Delhi, flying east, flying across India, and just as we passed the coastline, I sort of, out of my sleepy eyes, I sort of look down and I see the coastline of India, and suddenly all this Shakti just sort of comes into me, and I just bolt upright and just shake myself, as I've seen Swami do, when he's, like I described this other story. I mean, it literally happened to me, and the whole thing just fell off me. And I was just good as gold, and all that illness, whatever it was finished. And so my years in India were done. I tried coming back 2 times, and both times I had major adventures. It was clear. I wouldn't listen to my own inner source that said, "This is done for you." And so I needed to come in again, and Swami ignored me, but gave me a very hard time in many different ways. And then the third time I came, I was in the ashram for about 30 minutes, and a volunteer came up to me and said, "You have to leave, sir. You have to be outside." And I was outside with the dogs at the gate. And I was thrown out of the ashram because it was time for the next phase, the next part of the adventure. And I was devastated because I was holding on to some ideas, and I had no idea what I'd done. Why am I being thrown out? It made no sense to me. Now I see it as the greatest gift that was ever given to me. I could not have come into the true gift that has been given to me, to come into this place within myself, had I remained there, at least as I see it now. I mean, Swami is totally internalized. I don't know the difference between me and Swami. I can say that directly. I don't know the difference. I know who I am. And I am Swami. I am not that Swami that, now you go out and give darshan. It's not that. Swami said to me, he said, this body is an ordinary body. He spoke of himself, of his body. He said, this is an ordinary body, but this body has come on a holy mission, on a great mission. And so it will be used for that. You can say that. Everyone here can say that. I can say that. It's been given to me to say, but it's been given to me to pass that on to you also. That is your story. This body has been given to me. It's a vehicle. It's the same vehicle that you left out there in the parking lot so that you can go now and do your work. And that work is to bring the love of God into, and the light of God into those that still think that they are limited and caught up in this non-existing world. There's no world here except in your mind. And it's a mind that is totally caught up in its own importance, in its own arrogance. True humility will see that I am God itself. I am no different from God. And that's what Swami said. He said, this avatar does not give mantra, but I will give you a mantra, and I want you to say it 3 times a day. I am God, I am God, I am no different from God. I am the Satchidananda Swarupa. I am Tatsat. I am all of it. I am peace. I am love. I am pure delight. Own it. Be it. Dust if you are, dust you. Dust if you think, dust you are. Huh? God if you think, God you are. Why would you continue to think the arrogance of thinking that you're small when the truth is that you are all of it? Think God, be God.
Al Drucker, you are our Sai brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sai Ram.
I tell you, the one who is listening most carefully to all of this is me. Let me take another quick second and just say something. Swami tells the story of a guru who has a particular puja that he does every day. And for that puja, he needs fresh coconut milk every day. And he has a sishya, he has a woman who is his student, who is his disciple, and she lives on the other side of the river. And there are coconut palms. There are no coconut palms on this side of the river. And so every day she brings him fresh coconut milk for his puja. And one day she doesn't show up for his morning puja. And she doesn't come until late in the afternoon. And he is really deeply troubled because he was not able to do his daily puja. And he said, why didn't you come? What happened? And she said, Swami, did you look outside? The river is in spate. It is flooded. I couldn't walk across the river as I do every day. I had to go downriver and find a ferryman, and even the ferryman was unwilling to take me, and I had to convince him, and he took me across the river, and then I had to come up here, and it took a lot of time. And he said to her, if you believed in God, if you believed in the truth of what I'm teaching you, you would have just said, Gopala, Govinda, Krishna, and you would have walked across the water. There is no reason for you not to bring me my puja articles every day, because you are my sishya, and this is the means for your awakening. From that day on, every day, the coconut milk came at the right time. He did his pujas, and there was much happiness in that shrine room when they did their pujas together. And one day the guru had a little doubt. He said, how did she do that? Because the river has been flooded many times. And so he said, all right, let me try it. And he went out and he started saying Gopala, Govinda, Krishna, and he hiked up his dhoti and he stepped into the water thinking he would walk on top of the water, and he just fell right in. He hiked up his dhoti. He had so much trust that he hiked up his dhoti, right? And of course he fell in. So Swami tells that story. He says, that guru was teaching the truth. And the one who heard that truth in her pure heart, in her pure mind. She was given the truth and she was free. That guru did not trust his own words, but that doesn't mean that his words were not true. He passed on the truth to her and she became free. I say that because I am also listening to words that come through, as do all of you when you come into the position of teaching. These are not my words. These are words that are given. And I am as interested an observer and student of these words as anyone. We are all saviors to each other. We cannot do it alone. We cannot even do it with Swami. We need each other. We need our brother in the sense of brother, which is not, doesn't speak of male or female, as the Course speaks of it. Our brother is our savior. Our sweeper is our true savior. And so listen to your own words sometimes coming back through your brother. That's what's going to set you free. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
Sayonara.
We will take part. Respecting and abiding by